Well, Facebook's disastrous week is continuing to get even worse thanks to yet another scandal. In 2012, it turns out, the company handed over user data to Barack Obama's presidential campaign, and in doing so may have violated the law. Fox News 24/7 headlines anchor Brett Larson has more on that. Brett, what do you know?
Hey, Tucker. Yeah, not a good week to be Facebook, basically. What we're finding out today is there's reports that in 2012, they may have just given user data to the Barack Obama campaign. There were reports in the Daily Mail that the former person who ran the Facebook campaign for Barack Obama, the social media for him, that someone at Facebook said, "We're giving this to you because we agree with you." Of course, giving them that information for free would be a violation of the federal campaign finance laws, because that would be a violation of rather direct or indirect giving of. They're basically giving a campaign donation in that situation, and you can't do that in federal elections, so both for the president and for Congress. Then we're also learning today that Hillary Clinton's name coming up once again, now connected to all the problems with Facebook, that the app she was using during the 2016 campaign, and they were encouraging people to connect with their friends, they may have been going through your contacts list and doing that illegally and taking the data of their users to encourage people to vote for Hillary Clinton, to try and find people that they could persuade to be voters. Not very good news for Facebook all around, and this is all in light of the problems that they're having with the Cambridge Analytica story that we've been following for the past couple of weeks with the 50 million users and the data that was taken from them. And then this very, I think, damning piece of information, BuzzFeed's reporting on this, a former Facebook executive saying something about what their site does and how they connect people. And he, in part, says about Facebook, anything that allows us to connect more people more often is de facto good, despite the fact that they had concerns that doing this could even allow someone to coordinate a terrorist attack or even expose someone to bullying. So, Tucker, it is a bad week to be Facebook.
Yeah, and it should be. And I'm glad that other people are paying attention to this now, not just us. Brett, thank you for that.
Thanks, Tucker.
Hans von Spakovsky is a former member of the Federal Election Commission. He's a senior legal fellow with the Heritage Foundation in Washington, and he joins us tonight. Hans, thanks for coming on.
Sure.
So if it turns out that the Obama campaign received this data, that would be an in-kind contribution, correct?
It is, because it's very valuable data. And in fact, the former media director for the Obama campaign said that Facebook actually came to their offices and said, well, we don't normally give this data out, but we're going to let you have it because we favor your campaign. That turns it into potentially an illegal corporate contribution.
Well, how would that not be illegal? How would that not be a crime?
Well, you know, if they made this data available to anybody who wants it, well, then, of course, any campaign could get it. But the fact that they specifically had rules against this does make it an in-kind contribution. Contrast this with what they did with Cambridge Analytica. Remember, Cambridge Analytica, when they found out about this, they went to Cambridge Analytica and said, you need to destroy this data. You're not supposed to have it. And that tells you that in the one case, they let the campaign have it. In another case, they were saying, well, no, you're not supposed to have this data.
So Facebook, but also Google and Twitter and Apple, the big tech companies, could easily throw an election, and we wouldn't know it. And so we should be terrified of this. I don't think we're terrified enough. But what is the U.S. Congress, what are the appropriate agencies in the executive branch doing to make sure that these huge companies, who have more power than any companies have ever had in human history, are remaining transparent? I mean, we're certain this is not happening. What are they doing to reassure us of that?
Well, for example, in the case of the Obama campaign, potentially getting a corporate contribution, which is illegal, that ought to be investigated by the Federal Election Commission, where I used to be a commissioner, because it's a potential violation of federal law. No idea whether they are going to open up an investigation. Potentially, also, the U.S. Justice Department could investigate it, because if it was an intentional and knowing violation of the law, that takes it from being a civil violation to a criminal violation. So both of those federal agencies have potential jurisdiction over this. So far, no one has said at any of those agencies that they're going to open up an investigation. That's what they ought to do, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, if you have lunch with any of your friends, encourage them.
I will do that.
Thank you very much. Facebook's business practices get more disturbing the more you learn about them, and we learn more every day. Now we have new evidence the company may be spying on users at work and in their homes in ways they never imagined. Brett Larson is a Fox News tech reporter and anchor for Fox News Headline 24/7, and he joins us tonight. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Tucker. Yeah, we are getting some very troubling information about just what Facebook is learning about their users. They're listening in on your conversations. How would they do that? Well, it's pretty simple. If you've got the Facebook app on your phone, there's a microphone right here. In fact, most of our smartphones have multiple microphones on them so that they can hear your voice clearly in a loud room. Now, Facebook denies that they are doing this, saying they have never listened in for the purpose of advertising. But many users have gone online, and folks have even queried me in person with anecdotal evidence that usually goes a little something like, hey, so I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and we opened up Facebook and saw an ad about something that we were just discussing. Now, this news also comes as Christopher Wiley, he is the whistleblower seen here from Cambridge Analytica. He actually appeared before the British House of Commons, that's similar to our House of Representatives, and he said Facebook has the ability to listen in so they know if you're walking around, if you're in a loud bar, or if you're at home watching TV. Now, we already know that Facebook tracks our every move online, every site you visit, things that you like, friends that you have, all so that they can build this increasingly accurate profile about you to sell you targeted advertising. Now, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been invited to speak to a congressional panel about the problems uncovered with Facebook. And actually, just today, the social media giant rolling out a new security page. You'll start to see this, where you can access all your settings for security all in one place. You can even download all of your Facebook data in one massive download, all your pictures, all your posts. You'll start to see that in the next coming days and weeks. And Tucker, also today, Apple CEO Tim Cook said it is time to look and see what can be done to ensure that when we are online, our privacy is protected. Very troubling information out of Facebook.
Yeah, it's about time. Brett, thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Tucker.
Dylan Curran is a technical consultant and a web developer. He knows a lot about the subject. He just released a terrifying report demonstrating just how much information Google and Facebook collect about you and the rest of their users. Dylan Curran joins us tonight. Dylan, thanks a lot for coming on.
Hi, Tucker. Thanks for having me on.
You do this stuff for a living. You thought you knew a lot about the level of data collection by Facebook. You learned things you didn't know. Tell us what you learned.
Yes, so I feel like a lot of people in the tech industry had a general idea of what was going on, but when I went in and actually looked at the information, I found a lot of things that were totally unexpected. So they were recording, as was said in the report, your actual phone records and your text records. So now your Facebook calls and messages, your actual physical phone records. And then apart from that, then I went into Google, and they were storing a lot more information than I had previously expected. They were storing search history as far back as 2008. They had my location mapped back as far as 2014, showing pretty much every location I've been for the last 4 years, every day, and with a timestamp. They have also they showed all of the files and images I've ever downloaded, all the apps I've ever used or searched for. They also showed my Google Fit statistics, like how many steps I've walked, workouts, yogas, all the ads I've viewed and clicked on, all of my YouTube history. And the most disturbing thing was that they actually showed your Google Incognito history. So I tested this, I went in and browsed Google Incognito, and they actually kept the information. It was in the archive when I went to re-download it. So that means that when you think you're privately browsing, Google is still collecting that data.
But so they included things that you thought you'd deleted?
Yeah, so I had my Google Drive, which is just cloud storage, and I had a lot of files on there that I wanted to delete because they were personally liable. So that's
right.
Items such as, my CV, my monthly budget, a couple of websites and code, and an encryption key. And I had explicitly deleted those so that there would not be